XRP holders, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Appreciate you guys as always, but let's waste no more time and take a look at what's happening with the price of XRP and of course what we could be expecting going into Monday morning. Speaking about Monday morning, we have it right in front of us. Market is picking up. So far so good. BTC is looking really great, and of course altcoin market is really reacting in a positive way, due to this Bitcoin move as of now. As far as the XRP is concerned, it's up 3.1% in USD comparative with the price currently sitting at $2.13. Seeing a little bit of a minor pullback in the BTC comparative side of things because dominance is still quite high. We're down about 0.2%. Market cap at $124.4 billion and the 24-hour trading volume at 2 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So, gold officially breaks above 3,400 ounce per ounce for the first time in history. Gold is ripping. Gold is going insane. What's really going on? Who's buying gold right now at record levels? Why is gold going crazy? Are we not going to see rate cuts? Is inflation really going to occur this year? Sorry, not inflation. Are we really going to enter a recession this year? Or is it officially going to be announced? Because of course, since tariffs have been announced, the chances of a recession has, increased quite substantially by economists. So what are your personal thoughts down below regarding that? Let me know in the comments down below. But moving forward, look at this, Coinbase launch of XRP derivatives will go live in less than 24 hours. Let the time begin. And moving forward, I really wanted to kind of discuss this with you guys here. So John Deaton, who is, a crypto lawyer, says this, XRP is going to replace Ethereum this year. And in this video, it's pretty much kind of going into detail as how, XRP brings that real world use case and has that, real world use case capability to, revolutionize the way, businesses use and use the day-to-day finances, and of course, kind of sending money overseas, cross-border payments, instantly, real world assets. The list goes on and on. So, as far as Ethereum is concerned, I've said this from the beginning on my channel regarding Ethereum. I have nothing against Ethereum. It's one of the very, first coins that I, purchased when I came into the crypto space back in 2016. Good times. I have nothing against Ethereum, but when you look at it from a realistic standpoint and usability, in terms of everything, whether it's institutional interest, whether it's retail interest, or even developer interest, it's not there as it used to be, because people have realized there are other better competitors out there, other layer ones, layer twos that are better to build. Hence you're seeing the likes of Solana outpacing Ethereum in a major level. Of course, in terms of the DeFi sector, it's not at the level of ETH, because the ETH has been in existence for a long time. It has that first mover advantage, but the likes of XRP with stronger fundamentals, the chance of it flipping Ethereum this time around is definitely there. And John says in this specific update that pretty much as you did see regulatory clarity coming towards crypto industry, specifically how Bitcoin and Ethereum had that regulatory advantage before all these other assets are getting slowly but surely, and Ethereum didn't live up to the hype, and I totally agree with that. And even in terms of the ETFs, if you kind of look at the inflows on the ETF, it's not at the level where you would expect. And just based off of the demand there is for XRP right now, I think if it were to get that ETF approval, I think it would outshine Ethereum. And I do personally believe the capability of XRP to take over ETH's position is definitely there. So let me know your personal thoughts down below regarding this, but I totally agree with what John has to say here. And yeah, look at this, shout out to Jake for saying this, Ripple set its sight on the full financial stack. They weren't just aiming to handle payments, they wanted the whole system. Years later, that long game is starting to pay off, and it's becoming clear that this was never about luck. It was a strategy from day one. And I will kind of want to, go a little bit more into, this specific take. Look what they did with Hidden Capital, where they acquired that company. Why are they doing that? If they were not serious, then why would they be doing this? They want to take, the financial market, by storm, and they want to be the leader when it comes to, the blockchain industry. And I think they're showing that pretty much you could literally check every single box when it comes to crypto, real world assets, stable coin. It's just they have it all, and that's where the excitement really lies. And I just cannot believe what they have been through and how they're still here and they're still innovating and they still want to be at the top. And with the way things are going, you just cannot argue that they can't actually get to the top. So moving forward, take a look at this. Public companies are now holding nearly 700,000 Bitcoin, with of course MicroStrategy dominating at 77% of the total holdings. And yes, MicroStrategy makes such a huge chunk of it because of course Michael Saylor is just buying Bitcoin left and right. But I think you are going to start to see bigger players coming in, other companies that are not on that are not on the radar right now. I think they're going to start adding BTC onto their balance sheets because again, this is an asset class that a lot of companies are paying attention to, a lot of governments across the globe, and it's becoming scarce as time goes by. So demand is definitely outweighing the supply, and I think people are really going to start seeing that in the next few years to come, to see how much demand there really is for BTC and how it just cannot keep up with the current supply. And last but not least, banks team up with Ripple to build a swift alternative using blockchain. Global money movement enters a new era. Trillions of dollars will flow on XRPL ledger. Now, let's take a look, what's happening with the dominance. Dominance has been skyrocketing, went up to 64.12%, pretty much, kind of wiping out this major retracement that we did see yesterday for the dominance. So again, BTC did see, a major, move towards the upside. Bitcoin's looking absolutely amazing right now. Currently sitting at $87,500. Like I said, retesting some of the levels we haven't seen since the beginning of the month. So far, so good. Really important to, keep holding at this level. If we do see a little bit of a minor pullback, we could go down to 86.5 for BTC. I think it still would look really good, and even if that were to happen. But if you're able to see Bitcoin break out of this range, I think a 90K Bitcoin could be on the table in the next few days to come. If you're looking at XRP right now, let's give it a refresh live. Of course, it's back in the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level. So let's actually bring out XRP's chart so you can see this for yourself. We are ranging at this $2.13. We actually wicked up to $2.14. As you can see this for yourself, quite significant amount of resistance still coming in its way. Target still remains to be the 220, as I spoke to you guys about in the last few update. But yeah, one step at a time. I like what I'm seeing here. We'll see you later. Obviously right now you cannot ignore the fact that dominance is still quite high and does tend to have an impact on altcoins. But you need to take a look at the bigger picture. Love you all. See you later in Crypto ZX and peace out.